Good evening and thank you for joining us. For round two, residents shared the same sentiment about a controversial K-9 unit. Gainesville police hosted the community to discuss the K-9 unit's role in public safety. TV 20's Taylor Simpson tells us why one person suggests they use a new breed of dog.
It was a very heated meeting with many residents speaking out about their displeasure of the K-9 unit. Community members let their voices be heard at Williams Elementary School about Gainesville Police's K-9 unit.
K-9 unit is way too violent. It's way too racist. That's right. And the history behind that racism goes back centuries.
About 2 weeks ago, Alachua County Sheriff's K-9 unit has been working with GPD's team after City Manager Cynthia Curry pulled the plug.
They don't need the dog, at least not a German Shepherd or anything like that. Anything in that nature that is a vicious dog, it's pretty basically the same as the pit bull. And the only reason that they would have those dogs is to inflict vicious wounds on a person.
This meeting and the prior one a week ago happened because of Terrell Bradley's arrest last year. A K-9 officer left Bradley without an eye after he ran from a traffic stop. GPD officials share statistics on how K-9 officers help public safety.
Are there to protect the public. Secondarily, they're there to protect other officers. Thirdly, they're there to affect the arrest of dangerous persons.
Many who showed up called for the unit to be abolished, but one resident suggests police use a different breed of dog like beagles or bloodhounds instead of German shepherds.
So if you need the dog to find people or find substances, it's the nose you need, not the muscles.
The Public Safety Committee has a meeting on this topic on Monday. Taylor Simpson, TV 20 News.
A man from Morris